Am I the a-hole for asking 10 neighbors to have a talk with a homophobic neighbor? I didn't expect they all would, but all did, one after another, and angered her more. I moved to a new area with my wife, and one of my next door neighbors had some rude comments for us, since I'm a woman too. Nothing too aggressive, just petty little things like saying this was a family neighborhood and she didn't understand why we'd moved there, in a way that implied we were unwelcome. I tried to smooth things over by saying it was what we could afford, but she got more irritated, like I was saying her area was cheap. Anyway, when we met all the other neighbors, they were a lot nicer and nobody else seemed to have a problem with us being gay. Now, in my experience, if someone is being bigoted and you tell one or two people, nothing gets done. If you actually want stuff to be addressed, you have to be like the squeaky wheel and tell everyone. So when I met the other nicer neighbors, I asked each of them or each family, "Hey, I felt so welcome to your community." Except Janice next door had made some kinda homophobic comments. And I could use some help smoothing stuff over because I hate to start in a new place on the wrong foot. If you happen to know her, can you have a word with her? I want to work things out, but I feel like she might be more receptive hearing it from someone she's known for years instead of a newcomer. If you do end up talking to her, could you let her know we don't want any trouble? We'd just like her to stop making comments about our sexuality or us not being welcome here. All the neighbors I asked this of were upset someone in the neighborhood had been so rude and offered to have a word. Now, from my experience, if 10 people offer to help with something like this, maybe 1 or 2 will actually follow through. So to my surprise, they all did. Obviously, a very different community than I'm used to. And after the 6th person brought it up to her, she blew up. I actually heard her screaming from the next house that she was fucking sick of everyone coming to her house to lecture her. Had the women next door sent them too? And she screamed at the neighbor that had come by that they were the 6th person to come by for a nice little talk, and after 6 of them it wasn't a friendly chat anymore, and she was being harassed by everyone coming to her house. I came out of the house with my wife and she blew up on us saying that by sending every other neighbor I was harassing her. I said I didn't send anyone. Anyone who came by was their own person who wanted to say something after I told them what she had said to us. After that, apparently the few neighbors who didn't stop by in person called or texted and she blew up at them. I went back in and apparently she made a Facebook post chewing us out, but I didn't see it because my wife and I don't use Facebook. Am I the a-hole for asking 10 people if they could speak with a homophobic neighbor? Top comments. Here's a comment from Arkan Temiva. Janice is a bigot. Nobody is under any obligation to keep their opinion of her bigotry to themselves. If she doesn't want to be called on her bigotry, maybe she shouldn't say bigoted things. Not the a-hole. Here's another comment from CatCat712. The hypocrisy that Janice wants everyone else to keep their opinions to themselves while she gets to still make jabs at OP and her wife is astounding. She doesn't want a gay couple in the neighborhood. Well, it seems pretty clear that the rest of the neighborhood doesn't want a bigoted person in it. Here's another comment from Buttermint Pies. Yep, community action at its finest. No one is being hateful or harassing. She's just finally realizing how many people in her neighborhood don't agree with her worldview and feels threatened by that. So she's mad and throwing legalese around. Am I the a-hole for calling my wife a hypocrite for making our son do chores when he's sick but not our daughter? Throw away. Sorry for any mistakes. Not my first language. My wife, 43, and I, 41, have 2 kids, a 16-year-old son from a previous relationship of mine, and a 14-year-old daughter. My son has been living with us full-time since he was 4. To the current issue, my son has been suffering from cluster headaches for about 1 year now. They run in my family. He gets them every other month. Yesterday, he got hit by one again while I was at work and my wife was home. When I got home in the afternoon, I found my son in the driveway carrying pots of plants inside. My wife loves everything that has to do with gardening and plants and regularly buys new ones, or rather, attempting to. He was visibly in pain, pale, moving slowly, the typical watery eye, etc. When I asked him what he was doing, he told me my wife had told him to help her move those, but I didn't think he was in any condition to do so, and sent him inside and to bed. I got inside and confronted my wife with it, and she immediately got mad at me, saying it wasn't a big deal for him and that she had him take one of his pills. They help but can only do so much. So I reminded her that she lets our daughter stay home from school for 2 days every month and frees her for any chores when she's on her period, and is essentially being a biased hypocrite. We argued for a while and she said I'm undermining her authority, but I insisted on leaving our son alone for the day and carry the plants inside myself, which I'd done anyway had she just waited for me. Just to clarify, I don't interfere with my wife keeping our daughter home when she's not well. If she says that's necessary, then it's fine with me. I'm also not asking what is worse, but I don't think it was okay for her to make our son do this when he was in a lot of pain and basically grimacing with every moment. She also knows that he's not that great at standing up for himself. But am I the a-hole for that argument? Top comments. Here's a comment from Cake Eating Rabbit. As a person with headaches and period pain, your wife is an a-hole. Not the a-hole. Here's another comment from Alu33. Yep, same. I get bad period cramps and backache, but it doesn't even compare to the massive headaches I get. When I have cramps, I can still move around, but when I get headache, I just can't. Moreover, they're cluster migraines. Migraines need painkillers, a dark, quiet room, and sleep, not manual labor. Edit. Not the a-hole OP. Here's another comment from Taylor33. Exactly. The chores could end up making his migraines worse, and he could take too many pills to get rid of it and end up accidentally taking his own life. This is serious.